with doTERRA, if we fail at this business, it is fully on us because we are supported. Like
Mhm.
it's a support that I have never experienced in my life. doTERRA listens to us. They are implementing things that we're suggesting, and there's so much support for us that we can take advantage of.
My name is Andy Goddard, and I have a crazy belief that you were born to create. And doTERRA just happens to be the best playground for creating. Whether you're creating better health, time freedom, emotional health, wholeness, in whatever shape that takes. doTERRA has been an amazing vehicle for us. We've loved sharing this journey with others, watching what they create, and partnering with them as well. And so that's why we're here today, is to share some of those journeys with you, some of those stories and individuals who have raised their hand and said, yes, I care about healing. I care about doing it in an empowering way. And today we get to hear from a local rock star. Jillian is from Utah, and she is a platinum leader. We've got to know Jillian fairly well over the last few years. And it'll be easy for you to tell why she has created platinum and beyond. She's also recently earned the Bulgaria trip. So super awesome just to watch Jillian shine and to recognize doTERRA for what it is, which is an amazing vehicle to create in. So welcome, Jillian. Go ahead and give us a little bit of background. Tell us some about your life before doTERRA, maybe some of your path to wellness in general, and then to doTERRA.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. So prior to my direct selling career, I actually was a sales manager for a manufacturing company. So I traveled all over the US and Canada. And in one of those flights, I sat next to a mom who had this little girl on her lap, and she was feeding her dried blueberries. Which is so funny. But something like stirred in my spirit. And I was like, I want to be that mom. I want to be that healthy mom that takes good care of my kiddos and feeds them dried blueberries. And then fast forward, we experienced a lot of infertility. We had a couple miscarriages in our journey to try and start a family and still wasn't super aware of anything healthy. And then we ended up getting pregnant eventually and had this little girl, and it changed everything. It changed what I wanted to do and how to take care of her. And when she like I said, she turned 15 yesterday. And when she was about 6 months old, I was introduced to doTERRA, was invited to a class, and started like delving in the oils a little bit, but again, not knowing hardly anything. But we did have them in our home for the last 15 years. And then at that point, actually, I was introduced to a network marketing company, and it was about getting chemicals out of people's homes. And something just like exploded in me. I actually was going through my pictures yesterday and found the picture that I took of all the chemicals that we removed from our home when I started that journey. And so it just is small steps, right? And so fast forward, I was in this company for 10 years. I built a multi-million-dollar business with them. And I always said I could either do doTERRA or I could do my company that I was with. Those were the two companies that I could stand behind with integrity and share. And so I started building this business. And in the meantime, by the way, I'm Jillian, and we live in Farmington, Utah. And have been with doTERRA. It'll be 4 years next month. But sorry, backing up. And so we moved to Portland. I built my business up there and had another baby up there. And again, we were still very extremely, we don't have plastic in our home. I'm a total crunchy mama through all this journey, but we were still pretty Western medicine in what we were doing in our medical. I had the oils and we were using them. We came back to Utah. We relocated back here and for my husband's job. And we started also my superpower is that I cry all the time. So if I cry, I'm sorry. That's just who I am. I'm embracing that. But we wanted to have another baby. So we had two little kids and we wanted to get pregnant again. And so we started that journey. And about a year in, we realized it wasn't happening. And so we went back to what we knew with Western medicine. And in that process, my husband was on all sorts of medications with severe side effects. And he got to the point where it was really, really, really dark. And I remember him putting his hands up and saying, I'm done. Like, I don't care if we don't have any more kids. I can't live like this and I can't feel like this anymore. And I was like, okay. And in the meantime, we've been introduced to kind of a naturopathic doctor. And even with all my greenness and crunchy mama, that still felt really weird to me. And it felt kind of voodoo. And so, but after all of this, and after my husband expressing this to me, I said, are you willing to go this route? And he said, I will do anything not to feel like this. And so that started our journey into learning about what root healing was And when we heal the root and we heal what's causing all the symptoms went away, and we were pregnant within a few months after doing infertility treatments for a long time. And so it just, and I truly believe with all my heart that God led us that path because we needed it for the baby that was coming. She came with just lots of sensitivities and lots of just really interesting things that we've dealt with her. And I just am grateful every day that we have the tools and the knowledge which we have, and oils and supplements and all the things, because it has truly been life changing in our journey with her. And so, and in that process, in the meantime of that, we have another miscarriage, and then we get pregnant again with this little boy, and then COVID hits, right? And in that meantime, our journey kind of shifted. So I had some of my top leaders that we had built this prior company with actually notified me that they were leaving and coming to doTERRA. And it rocked me. It rocked me to my soul. I was like, what in the world? Because we just loved this company before. But we started realizing in our prior company that what we had been promised and what we were being told wasn't becoming the reality of the true freedom and the financial freedom and time freedom, all these things. We realized we would continue to have to grind the rest of our life in this comp plan. And it wasn't suiting us, and it wasn't our dream anymore. And when these top dear friends, actually two of my very, very best friends, left to come to doTERRA, my husband said, please don't go to follow. He said, if you feel like you need to go, then I will fully support that, but do not go just to follow them. And so I took it was, and then COVID hit, and I had this baby and all these things. And so I just mulled over this decision for a long time, and I learned about founders. I kind of had, that was an opportunity. And I just had this like almost this FOMO, and it wasn't even FOMO, but it was like, do not miss this opportunity. Like, what if, And so I ended up contacting my friend, and I said, lay it all out. Tell me, like, sit down with us, show what the plan looks like. And I remember standing where I'm standing in my office, and I remember God, like every morning was like, do I keep where I'm at, or do I do doTERRA? And I remember having the feeling of like, in 5 years, like if I relaunch where I'm at in my business and I go gang ho in 5 years versus starting doTERRA and going gung ho for 5 years, what will that look like? And I had asked myself that question. So we sat with them for like 3 hours. We went through all of the doTERRA comp plan. And then, of course, they made us go meet with the Goddards. And if you guys have met the Goddards, you're in trouble when you meet with them. I mean, you were not in trouble, but you know that you're in at that point. And I remember prior to meeting with you guys, and if you guys know the Goddards, they are busy. You guys have millions of people underneath you. And I remember sitting with them at their dinner table, and we were their priority, and there was no rush. There was no like, anyways, it just was such an incredible experience, Andy, and we're so grateful to this day for this. But I remember sitting there thinking, like, I want to be surrounded by people like this. I want to up level our life, and I want to have this influence in our life, and that is why we said yes. And it's been an incredible journey. We came in, like I said, 4 years ago this next month, and we ran to Founders really, really insanely. And we hit Founders 2.0 in 15 months. And do I recommend that? No. And I'll share a little bit more. We can go into that a little bit more about how I would suggest doing things versus how we did it. But I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so passionate about educating and especially empowering mamas. I've had so many experiences in my life where I've learned to fully trust that intuition that God gives us. And that's my mission, is to help women to trust that and not to have to rely on outside sources, but to rely on the source that God gives us to help our families and help our kiddos. So that's kind of my journey.
Wow. Sounds kind of like natural intelligence to me.
Yes, very much so.
So amazing. So you've been using doTERRA product for about 15 years, but then decided to jump into the business almost 4 years ago. Awesome. So give us a little bit more detail on what was it that you saw? I mean, you saw great community, and you wanted that community that the influence of good people. What else did you see in doTERRA? Like
Uh,
clearly compensation plan, like you said that they showed you the plan. Tell us about that.
So, I mean, it's obviously if you knew my best friend, she's very detailed and very passionate, and so it was very overwhelming to me. And like Sean just kept saying, like, why would you not? Like, why would you not do this? And I'm like,
Mhm.
I've worked for 5 companies in my entire life, so I'm incredibly loyal.
Wow.
And so it was a lot to look at that, and it was hard for me to walk away. And Sean's like, but like, how have they been loyal to you, your past company? Like
Mhm.
so he walked me through a little bit of that. He's very strategic and very analytical. I feel with my heart. So, but he's like, why would you not? Like, why would you not do this? And the thing that stuck out to most of us, the most, I guess, for us, is that when in my prior company, like you're kind of in it for yourself. Like
Mhm.
honestly, I had a front line, like we just enrolled people and we were starting over every single month. There was no residual and it was a great product that lasted a really long time, which is awesome, but not for business. And so it wasn't a consumable product. And so the biggest thing too, like I had 150 customers that sat on my front line. So I was responsible for all of those. I had people like, I had team builders underneath me, but it wasn't a synergistic comp plan. And so when we sat down and we saw that like literally we needed three frontline partners to build with. And when I get enrollments, I'm putting them underneath those people to build them up, which builds us up. And it just felt so synergistic and like such a
Mhm.
like a community build instead of like being in it for myself, and that I could come in and launch leaders. I couldn't even launch
Mhm.
my own leaders in my past company because I had to do so many classes a month that I didn't have the time and it didn't financially benefit me to help onboard those people. And so where I sat and saw that we could financially benefit, but like I could pour into these people and build leaders and it still rose us up as well, like that rising tide, right? And that's what we saw, and it just was so much better in my heart to be able to build a business like that. And so much cooler to focus on building people
Mhm.
and rising ourselves as well with that.
Yeah. So from what I understand, the other plan was a breakaway plan, which means when your leaders get to a certain level, you don't get paid on them anymore. And
Our
so,
commission decreased, yes.
yeah, so you're disincentivized to
Yeah.
help others win. So I scratch my head and I'm in awe at anyone who lasts um, in those companies, those plans. So, so you took the jump, you took the leap, you went all in. doTERRA had a Founders 2.0 program going at the time, and you saw the vision and you ran for it. So tell us a little bit more about how you built. Did you build through classes, online? Well, I mean, it was COVID, but tell us what your strategy was.
Yeah, so we came in 2022. So we were kind of past that a little bit.
Okay.
But I do feel like it shifted people's beliefs and their like just questioning. I think it started people having people question. And so I think it helped in that matter of like people were like, maybe I should question what my doctors are telling me, or maybe I should question what I'm being told, and maybe there's other options. And so I think that was helpful. We came in and I came from a class structure, so that's what I've done. And honestly, I probably one of the biggest things I've learned is like in this is that not to chase like that new flashy thing, right? Like we have new
Mhm.
classes coming, we have new ways to build, and so we chase that. And really, I was doing a call with one of my partners yesterday. I'm like, we've got to get back to what we know and like where like I thrive, And so it really was in classes. So we were doing in-home classes. I did a couple Zooms, but not a ton. It was primarily in-home, and that's where again I've just had this aha this like last week of like that's where I need to get back to, and that's my
Mhm.
bread and butter, and that's where I thrive, and that's where I connect, and that's what brings me joy. And so yeah, we primarily built through classes. That's
Awesome.
how we built. Yeah,
Yeah, classes work.
it works.
They never didn't work.
It's just
Sometimes we have to tweak the message, like what's the hook? How do we get people to, get their ears to perk up? Um, but yeah, classes have never not worked. So
true,
Amy's
100%.
asking, how did you get people in the seat?
So that's my superpower. I mean, that's how I built my business. That's what we did. We did classes. And so I mean, the old text message invite, right? Like that's what I was doing. And now like I would be happy to share how we're doing it now because I think it's so powerful how we've changed it. But literally sending text messages and getting people there and we were sampling and we were just talking to people like I'm a homeschooling mama. So we have four kiddos from 15 to 6 and like 16 animals in there somewhere, I think somewhere. I don't know how many today, but we have. But again, it's just connecting to people, right? Like and talking. We're in a homeschool group, and a lady yesterday was like hesitantly kind of asked me, she has blood cancer and is doing things holistically, and she's like, I've been hesitant to ask you because I I thought I had to pay for you to help me, like, and that you charged per hour, like, and I'm like, I'm here, like, that's not how I build my business. Like, I'm just there for people. A friend, like, I went and did Symphony of the Cells on her the other night because she needed it, and I felt called to do that, and I don't charge for it. Like, maybe that's unwise, but like, I feel like God rewards when I'm serving and helping, and so. But yeah, we literally, I got on text messages and I started texting and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. Are you open to coming? And then
Awesome.
in our class, like we focus on getting bookings from those classes, right? Like of people that
Yeah,
like doing classes from classes. So that's
I love it.
nothing magic.
Got it. So the some of the languaging that I've heard around that other model is a party plan model.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we're going to come together for home parties or classes, call them what you want. And the one of the primary goals is not just sales, but booking more classes from those classes. So that's what I think of when I hear what you're describing, kind of a party plan model.
Yeah. And it sounds like, yes, yeah. And we do Zoom classes. So our team has a weekly Zoom class, which I love those as well. I think that's a great way. And then I do scans. So I didn't do that when I was
Mhm.
running to Founders. But I love the scans lately. And my kids, you guys they like weekly, they're like, Mom, can I scan? Can I scan? Like it's just cool to have this tool. And I love
Yeah,
using that in my business to like have people, I'm like, let me scan you, and let's see
love it.
what's going on. So yeah.
Can we hone in a little bit on the inviting? Um, so you talk about texting. I assume that you have a names list. I know that your upline is a big advocate for always keeping a names list, and whether it's formal or
Yeah.
not, like you always have a list of people, and that's always changing and growing. And so I assume that's who you're texting. You're not just buying numbers from some marketing agency.
No, this is true. Yeah, no, just I always have people, and you guys like honestly, I feel like God bless. I'll have people come to mind. Like I really get like downloads from that, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
like I just reach out. I've had to shift my mindset of like it was such a like I had to just go 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 in this last company,
Mhm.
and so it's I've had to shift that in my brain with doTERRA of being like being in service and like not getting that instant sell, but it's okay because it comes
Mhm.
like so I've had to change that of like doing Symphony of the Cells. Like did I make money to that? No, but like I'm building that, and I promise you she'll be a partner one day. I know she will be. So
Mhm.
it's just, anyways, I've had to shift my mind of like having that instant gratification of that sale to be like, I'm building, like there's people that I talked to 3 years ago that I'm enrolling, like, so
Yeah.
sometimes it's just all about timing. But so honing into the invite, is that what you want to go into? So
Yeah.
this changed everything. And I love the feel that I feel when I'm inviting. So actually, I'm putting it out there, but I'm like I have all these people in my like area right here that need doTERRA. And so I'm like I'm putting myself out back out there, right? And I'm gonna host a class in my house and bring my people. And so what we've done and we've shifted, it's more of a two-step invite instead of a one-step invite. When I was
Mhm.
launching and going and running with founders, it was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I have a class this Thursday. Can you make it? And people would say, oh, sorry, I can't. Or, yeah, I'd love to be there, right? And so for the sorry that can't people, do I know? I don't know if they're not interested or they just can't come because of scheduling conflict. And so with this
Mhm.
new shift that we've had, which just feels like when I say this, I hope you feel the difference of it, where
Mhm.
it's like I'm reaching out and I'm saying, hey, like this is what I'm doing. I'm hearing that a lot of people around us are going through perimenopause. Like, I want to support
Mhm.
you. I have tools for that. Like, are you open to learning more? That's it. That's your invite. That's your first invite. And
Mhm.
you get a yes or a no, right? Like you get that, I would love to learn more. Or, I'm like actually not really interested. Great. And so
Mhm.
from on those people now who wants more and who doesn't. And it
Mhm.
takes away that like rejection feel. You know what I mean? Where they're like, oh, I can't come. And you're like, oh, is that instant rejection? Where this, it's just opening up a conversation with these people. And most people are open to that, you guys. And so at that point, then you say, great, I'm actually hosting a couple classes in May. Like I have one Thursday, da da da. Does that work for you to come? And so you have that buy-in and that openness, and it just changes and shifts everything for me. Um, and so that's what we're doing. And that's the way that we're inviting out is just asking for that openness and then giving details at that point.
I love that. And we've partnered a lot with your upline on the scripting.
Mhm.
In fact, that's how the most up-to-date launch guide
Okay.
was informed was with your upline and a lot of these scripts. So people don't need to hack into your computer to find these scripts, right? Like
Yes.
it's out there.
Launch guide, yeah. But yeah, and I hope you feel that difference. When I say that, like I feel like such a difference. Just I'm like, it's not the rejection of like, can you come yes or no? Because if they can't come that Thursday, you know they're open and you can keep offering other dates or whenever you have. And so yeah, that's what we're shifting. Even with
Totally.
Zoom, Zoom's the same thing. Like, are you open to
Yeah.
doing more? Like this, we have a class every Tuesday. Like, so that's how I'm doing it, and that's what I'm getting back to. And honestly, like I've had this, and so okay, so here's our journey, right? We hit founders, and then we joke about the founders flu, but it was a real thing. We ran really, really, really hard, and we pushed our partners really, really hard, and that's probably the biggest thing I've learned is that that's not how we want to build a business and it's not sustainable. We lost partners because of it. And there was trauma involved. Like they just were like, this was a lot. And so I've had to recondition my brain and their brain to be like, this is not how we build anymore. We're building very sustainably and we're building very intentionally. And we have goals and we want to push, but like it was a push. Um, and we knew that coming in, right? Like we knew that our family knew that, like our kids, like mom's running for this and it's going to be insane. But so I've just been a lot more intentional in like, and the biggest thing, and this is not my strength, it's like my number 27 on my strength finders, but is consistency. And I'm learning like do what you can do to build consistently. If that's one class a month, great. That's awesome, but do it consistently. And
Mhm.
I'm now in that spot right here, actually like having this rebirth in my business and me right now of like this is what I want to do and how much can I commit to do every single month, no matter what, no matter we live a very full life, you guys. Like we have kiddos everywhere and we're homeschooling all of them. And my husband works a full-time job, like he's in corporate America. And so, but what can I do consistently? Can I commit to hold myself to and my partners to that just will build and it will happen and you'll have growth. But I've done this in my business. I'm not happy to admit that, but that's where I'm at. So I'm like having this aha of like, it's really just that consistent build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consistency is key, right? It's core. So a big part of your success is being able to book classes from classes. Can you talk to us about some of the mechanics of that? What do you do? Like, do you offer incentives if people host a class? How do you seed that in your classes?
Yeah, and that's yes. So and to be totally transparent, like I haven't been doing a lot of classes. I've been doing more one-on-one-ish like things like that,
Mhm.
but literally God's been putting it on my heart like just this like week of like get back into people's homes and I'm like, okay. So we actually have been brainstorming about that and I love your book. Like we love the essential oil, oh my gosh, modern essentials book. Like you guys, it is like right here all the time next to me and it is so worn and used because we just sorry, it's not Modern Essentials, the Essential Life book. Sorry, Andy, that was
All
terrible.
good.
It's always here, right here. My like binding is all broken. Sorry. Anyways, the Essential Life book. But so we have those, and so like that's actually what I'm going to use as a hostess incentive, because it is such a powerful tool.
Mhm.
To me, like I want that, and I have a ton of people that want it, and so when we do our classes and you guys it's not like hey we host a class for me. I think we have to be really careful with that verbiage because we don't want to put people don't want more to do, right? So it's like do you
Mhm.
have a couple people that you know that this could bless like that you can invite over and have me and let me come and teach, and when you do like and here's a trick too. I've learned also you don't give the hosting gift at like if it's at my class and they're booking for my class, I don't give them the gift there. I give it when they host.
Mhm.
Learn that trial and error because sometimes they cancel and then they have the book, right? So it's when they host, you give that to them because it is an investment, right? But also like
Right.
if I were to tell you, if I were to say like, would you pay me if I had a class for you, would you pay me 25 bucks for it?
Hmm.
And essentially, right? Get these for $25. And so I'm getting a class for $25. And to me, that's worth that investment. Um,
Totally.
and so, and also, you guys, like, this is like, we're giving them a tool and it becomes like a little shopping cart, also, right? Like, it
Mhm.
puts tools in their home, but they also look through here and see more oils and more things like that, that, like, my gosh, I want that. And so, anyways, that's kind of my plan right now is, to get
Awesome.
them in the books in class. So actually like one of the tool, like one of the ideas is like if you are hosting a class in person, and again, you guys, I do online, I do one-on-ones, but this is what I'm
Hmm.
talking about right now. But have them get in this and be like, hey, who has an ailment that they want to look up? And
Hmm.
then give them the book, have them look it up and see, like kind of let them use it and see how valuable it is. And then they do want it. I have so many customers that love this book and
Hmm.
waiting for it to come out. And so that's my plan is to give them that gift when they host a class.
I love it. And are there any like PV requirements or number of people in the class? How do you, because if you
Yeah.
offer to host, but then no one
Yeah.
shows, like how do you
The million
make
dollar
it
question,
equitable?
right? So you can do that. Like say, like if you have three people there, I would probably do it for three people. I think
Okay.
that's good to me.
Hmm.
And it's you have to kind of look at that. I don't want it to be like maybe you could say five people. If you have five people there, you
Hmm.
get the book for free. Whatever that is for you. But to me, like having three or four people there is worth it. Like
Yeah.
because I know I'm gonna enroll those, I'm gonna have success with those people. And
Hmm.
and in our prior company, like we wanted 10 to 12 people in the seats. Like that's
Hmm.
what we were telling people. And now I'm like three or four, like,
Yeah.
where we're providing that more one-on-one
Hmm.
service, like addressing health concerns and things like that. Like
Hmm.
it's a lot to have 10 to 12 people there.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's so yes, I would put a pre-qualifier on there for sure. And if you want, like if you have three people there, then I'll give
Yeah.
you the book for free.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love this idea that sometimes it takes money to make money. Like, name me one company out there that has zero marketing budget. It just
Yeah.
doesn't exist. And so, if we can each think of ourselves as our own independent business, of course we would give ourselves a marketing budget. And so, incentives like a free book is a fantastic way to think of that.
Yeah.
Um, were you gonna say something?
Nope, you're good. Sorry.
So talk to us more about life now. So you've built a platinum. I know you have much bigger goals, but what things have opened up because of building a platinum business in doTERRA?
Um, one of the gifts, honestly, like I would say, like I'm not making the income that I wish I was making 4 years
Mhm.
in, right? Like I'll be very transparent about that. I wish it was more, but also like the gift of being able to have products in our home. Honestly, like
Mhm.
my income pays for that. Like, and my
Mhm.
husband, we always will look and say, what would life look like if I didn't have doTERRA, and what would it look like? What would he have to take on if I didn't have my doTERRA income? And I mean, we spend a significant amount of money. My husband and I both together, like our
Mhm.
health and wellness is a top priority for our family. And so we spend a significant amount of money each month. My kids all take VMG every day, and they take supplementation. And so having that ability to purchase and have that in our home is an incredible gift. Have the oils there readily available. Like my kids trust them, they know, and I know my kids' health and their mental well-being, my kids' hormones, like my daughter's, like they're 13 and 15 and they have never had a zit in their life. And I know it's because that their gut and their body is healthy. And so that has been a gift to be able to have that financial ability to purchase those products and have them in our home to bless our lives. Um, the other gift has been like travel. We have been blessed with, we love to travel. And I look at the places and it like literally is like humbling. Like I was looking at my iPhoto picture the other day of the maps of where we've been in the world. And I'm like, wow, like we were in Kenya. That was like such a gift. We were able to go to Kenya a year and a half ago and meet our farmers and see the sourcing there. We've been on incentive trips. We've traveled, like I was just in St. George at a leaders retreat and being poured into. And I just feel like what a gift. Like aside from the monetary side of doTERRA, we like you mentioned, we get to go to Bulgaria in Europe in June. And like it makes me cry. Like that like that's not somewhere we would go and to be
Mhm.
immersed and to see the roses and to see the farmers and all of these things. Like there's so many more benefits. And also like I look at my kids and I like sweet Natalie, like, I have a daughter that's just more emotional and struggles more mentally and stuff like that. And we're at your home and Natalie's like rubbing her back and we got home and she's like, Mom, Natalie was rubbing my back. And I said, she was pouring love into you. And so like, there's so many things. I think we just look monetarily at like what doTERRA is bringing us, but the people that my kids are surrounded by, the abundance mentality of doTERRA, like our first incentive trip we went on, um, like Sean and I were in awe. Like we've been in corporate America. I was in my prior direct selling company, and he's like, I've never experienced an abundance energy, and both of us felt it. And it was like this up level. Like we just wanted to up level our lives to meet that abundant energy. And I think with doTERRA, I always say this to my team, and like not in a mean way, but like if we fail at this business, it is fully on us because we are supported. Like
Mhm.
it's a support that I have never experienced in my life in prior company. Like doTERRA listens to us. They are implementing things that we're suggesting and like and there's so much support for us that we can take advantage of from corporate that I just feel like, man, so personal development, like,
Yeah.
we talk about that a lot, but like where in your life, like you're ugly, you're going to see the hard, you're going to see all those crappy beliefs that we have in in our mind and our body. And like, I would dare say I was raised in a very scarcity household. And like, like I've had to face my crap basically.
Mhm.
It brings things up in us that are hard, but like, I look at who I am. I actually did lunch with a friend of mine that I worked with in my when I was in corporate America. And I just was like, like, there wasn't a progression. Like, I didn't see a growth in that. And I look back at, our 10, 12, 14 years that we've done this business, and I'm a wholly different person. And I know it's because I've been told no. I've had leaders quit. I've had to do really hard things and overcome that. And it's easy to walk away because if you don't want to face that, you walk away. And I feel like we've pushed through it and I'm stronger. I'm like have dealt with trauma, like all the things that come up that so there's so much more than just money from doTERRA.
Yeah, for sure. The paycheck takes a lot of different shapes and forms, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So true. Well, what advice do you have for somebody who's looking at doTERRA as a business, or maybe they've been in for a while and they've slipped back in rank, or maybe, I don't know, they're just not sure if doTERRA is the path for them. Like what coaching would you have?
So with that, like we always laugh, but like get your oils out. Like you guys, there's like somebody we were at our retreat this week. Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they said if there's people struggling, they're like, when's the last time you used your oils? Like
Hmm.
when's the last time you used the products? And like get excited about them again. Like get your oils on. Like, man, like what a gift. And so that I would say get excited about the products again.
Hmm.
And also kind of in a funk of like what was I gonna say? Let me just give me 4 seconds to process. But find what lights you up.
Hmm.
Like I've been like I really haven't been consistent, and I'm being very open with you in my business. Like I'm having this restart and this rebirth, right? Of like finding my purpose again and finding what makes me excited. And again, I think we go to convention and we go to leadership and people are like, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And so my squirrel ADHD brain is like, oh, that's working for them.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go do that. And
Hmm.
so we try all these things, but like really at the root of it, like I was literally had this aha call with my leader the other day. I'm like, why are we not doing the things we know that work? Like we know classes work, we know doing these things work, and those bring me joy. Like some people that are like absolutely will not do that. That doesn't bring me joy. So find what ignites you. Go share doTERRA with somebody. Like honestly, like go do something that sells. I did something that sells and like I was like it just to serve and pour into somebody. Go do that. Go just something that reignites you and that you find that brings you joy and your purpose and looking at doTERRA's business, like I mean, go look at other comp plans, like really truly, and study them and look at them and see like how confusing they are and all the different things about it. But if you're kind of in a funk and wanting to be like, where am I at and what's my purpose again? Get your oils out, start doing the things that and start using the products again and again start just sharing them with one person. And I think it just makes that passion, it's momentum, right? Like it just and the truth of it is like is when I get into momentum in my business and I'm doing you guys touch your business every day.
Hmm.
That has been something that I haven't been doing as well. Just homeschooling, it's our second full year and we're trying to figure stuff out still. But like every single day, like you have to because it's so easy to let it slide, right? we were studying the manna in the Bible, right? How God was giving us manna every day, or giving the people manna. And it was like they had to partake of it every day. They couldn't save it. They couldn't, it would rot overnight, right? If they tried to take too much. And so it's kind of that manna, like you just have to do, it's like exercising. It's like, it's a
Mhm.
daily thing. And it's so easy to let aside, but not as easy to get it back. And so even if it's a text message to one of your customers today, like just something where you're in the business, um, and it's on your mind and you're, because
Mhm.
I get, again, I like have ADHD, so my mind's constantly like, I'm not doing these things, I'm failing all these things, but in action, right, that anxiety goes away. And so get into action, do it scared. That's what I'm doing. And I'm right there with you all because again, I'm putting myself out there and I'm going back into my small neighborhood and my friends and doing a class in May. And so just do it scared. Natalie, like her, my favorite thing Natalie teaches is imperfect action. I tend to be a perfectionist and it's like I gotta have all these things already before I can move forward. And really it's just imperfect action over and over.
So true. Such wisdom there. Well, I would love to open it up to other people with questions. Do you have a minute just to do some Q&A? So go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question for Jillian. Um, and yeah, I've loved all the wisdom that you've dropped, all the clarity. Um, yeah, this whole business model, we do it because of the time freedom, but the greatest downside to this business model is we have too much freedom. And so without a boss, without a time clock, it's easy to do, so it's easy not to do. So yeah, just I love that advice of touching your business every day.
Yeah, I love the quote. It's like our jobs are flexible, but they're not optional.
Yeah,
And I love that. Like we have the flexibility,
yeah,
which is saying like sometimes that gets where we it gets optional, but really
yeah,
treating your business like a business. And one of the mindset shifts I've had to do, like, and I'm still working through, is like being a working mom,
yeah.
and and owning that I'm a business owner, and like stepping
Mhm.
into that power of that, of like versus just like, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I homeschool, like, and
Mhm.
helping my kids realize like, mom works, you know. So.
So true. Um, okay, anybody have a question? Go ahead and raise your hand. We've had some great conversations on the side, but I think we've hit all those questions. Um, yes, time blocking,
Fucking yes.
so powerful.
Yes. Something I need to implement much better than I do.
But I just love the fact that um, you've chosen a very full life. Like homeschooling is the real deal. We've done it, and then it's knocked it's kicked our pants, and so we've quit, and then we've done it again, and then like it is so full on, and so I love that you found a way to have seasons. The Run for Founders was a season of intensity, and then you've had off seasons, but you've always found a way to fit it into your life
Mhm.
and to make a space. And so that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Julie's asking, what is your plan for consistency?
Ooh, I like
Um,
you're holding me accountable here. Okay. So I'm also going to go down. I'm seeing what ADHD, what consistency oils.
mhm,
Because I'm breathing balance. So we actually did we had I think it was a neurosurgeon, neurologist or somebody came to doTERRA at one point and said, Spanish sage, it is
mhm,
spicy, I will warn you, but in the top of the roof, and it does calms things down. Melissa's a really good one. Thinker, In Tune, all of those brain ones. Adaptive is really good. Um, and I find that with my ADHD, like if I just get into action, like I feel like so much of it's in my head all the time that just getting into action. So my plan for consistency is this. I like that you're holding me accountability or accountable for what I'm saying. Um, is again, yes, to like really sit down with my kiddos and be like, this is mom's working time. Often I will like go to the library. We do a Commonwealth from Tuesday on Tuesdays from 9 to 3. So my whole day is that homeschool event. And so
mhm,
my goal is to actually start going to the library. I have a 6-year-old that is attached to mommy's hip, who I love him so much, but I
mhm,
have to leave in order for him to like me to get stuff done and dad to put him to bed. So it's that's my biggest thing right now. That's what I'm committing to is just sitting down with our family and being like, okay, mom wants to grow my business. We want these things for our family. And then also having a goal that we're working towards. Like when we hit this, like when we hit founders, we had a celebration and we did something. And so kind of building them back in the business, I feel like sometimes I tend to separate the two, where I really need to get them back on board with me working and just having those conversations and sitting it and yeah, and time blocking. That's what I'm actually, and it shifts. So here's the truth of it is like we homeschool right now, right? And then summer comes. And so summer opens up actually more time for me where it's funny because most
Mhm.
moms are like, oh, I can't work in the summer. Where I'm like, I have freedom because we're not schooling,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, right.
And so it's kind of funny. So I'm hiring my 15-year-old to babysit and I'll pay her and have work hours. And so it's flexing all the time and we just have to adapt.
Yeah. Wow. Sounds like adaptability is a great strength to have in this business.
Yes.
And I love your advice for Spanish Sage. That guy is a powerhouse.
Great
It's
diffuse.
so good for focus, just mental clarity. Yeah, it's amazing. And I think we're going to hear more about that at convention. So just a little sneak peek there. Yeah, just I think I don't know if there's new science or what, but Spanish Sage, yeah, really, really good.
I love it. Yeah, it's amazing. It's really good for, I don't know if we can say Alzheimer's, but that's like what I've heard is like a mental,
Really?
emotional. I mean, how do you say
Wow.
that without being
Yeah,
offensive?
I mean it's
But it helps with, yeah, a lot of that dementia, Alzheimer's, brain stuff.
right. Julie's
It
asking about recommendations
helps
for
with.
autism. Any thoughts on autism?
That's a whole different class. But getting like you guys my passion, like I do not like dye in my life for my children, red dye, all the dyes. I feel like that is something I would do immediately if that was something we were working through is with autism. Um, and
Mhm.
omegas are amazing, getting their brain in a right spot and supporting all that. And I get there's all the sensitivities and you know sensory things with all of that. But there are amazing protocols and amazing people to follow on that. But really, it's healing internally as well as not just the brain as well, but getting good nutrition and getting dyes and high fructose corn syrup and all the things out of the body as well as what you're putting in the body makes a significant
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
So detox has been a big part of your former company, and it sounds like you're still super passionate about it. What are some of the top tips, protocols Julie's asking? Um, like as toxicity is not going away.
It's
Like
not.
you can't run from all of it.
Yeah.
So what are some top tips there?
I would tell you you're the gatekeeper of your home. So you bring in what comes into your home and you can control that and everything else you have to just I've had to learn. I was very, very controlling as my kids gotten older. I've had to be a little bit more open and they're out in the world and getting exposed. So we're doing supplementation at our home, keeping them healthy. And then you guys like honestly like start small. Like I said, like dried blueberries, you guys, but like that's what that's what started it. But I started getting online and there's a website. It was like 100 days of real food or something like that. It was a blog back in 20 who knows whatever. And I started using we literally switched out maple syrup for crappy syrup and we started doing um like whole wheat organic pasta. Like that's where we started. And just little by little, we don't have plastic in our home. But I feel like people think it's like an all or nothing and you have to go 100% and like immediately have everything out. And it's a
Mhm.
process. It takes money and it takes time. Like we don't want
Mhm.
to microwave you guys. Like that's how weird we
Mhm.
are. Okay. But that was, we redid a kitchen remodel and we chose not to put one in. And that was 6 years ago. And you can live without a microwave. But again, it's like, pulling like we don't high fructose corn syrup and dyes are like a hard no.
Mhm.
And so that's where we started. And then like, you know, upgrading your pots and pans like to the
Mhm.
nonstick. And don't have Teflon and nonstick in your home. And like, but there's so many resources online. And like again, I'm gonna need to create a guide. This is like my passion because and
Mhm.
like personal care items, where can you cut back? And the biggest one I'll tell you, like that makes me just like boils my skin is fragrance. Like
Mhm.
number one thing I would tell you, like I will
Mhm.
live and die on this is to get fragrance out of your home.
Mhm.
It is doing so much more damage than we think, and it's in everything. Trash bags have fragrance, but like sadly, there's homes we can't go into because the
Mhm.
fragrance is too bad. And so like that's what I would say. Like number one, get rid of your plugins, and it's an easy swap out. Get them out of your home. Get rid of lotions and perfumes. And like I've read a study that we spray th our thyroid with perfume, right? Like endocrine disrupting right there. And
Mhm.
so that just like those small changes make massive, like my company's name,
Mhm.
it's the one drop, right? And it's like that one
Mhm.
little drop that creates massive ripples. And so it's
Mhm.
just all those things. So, and there's, when we started that journey 15 years ago, it was hard. There was nothing, like there really wasn't. We were like trying to find anything. And now it's so readily available and talked about. And they're right next to each other at the grocery store. It's just making that.
Yeah.
I have a video of my 3-year-old reading like labels on the back. She doesn't read, but she was looking at them because that's what we do. And so it's just, yeah. And my kids know what makes, and let them in tune, like teaching them to trust their bodies. And they know
Yeah.
what, like, we'll walk in and they'll be like, Mom, this stinks so bad. I have a headache. Or, so their
Mhm.
little bodies know and leaning into that
Mhm.
and trusting that. And I have teenagers and we don't use teenage products. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know
For,
that there are apps out there, when you are choosing which products to buy. Do you have a favorite app or a few that you like?
I should because but I like just know myself now. But like,
Uh-huh.
Think Dirty is a good app.
Think Dirty.
Is a great one. There's, oh my gosh, there's lots you could probably look up. And some you have to be careful, like, because they are paid by, they are paid
Mhm.
for by companies. And
Mhm.
so it's Think Dirty. There's another one, I can't remember what it's called, that a lot of people use that you can just
Is it
scan.
is it Yuka?
Maybe yes, Yuka's a good, Bobby approved. Um, but again, you guys, like, this is what I'll tell you is there's all those things, but like we are so influenced. We just are. And I will see stuff all the time that people are influencing that I'm like, that is absolute trash. Like that is a
Mhm.
garbage product. I know it's not good for
Mhm.
us. And so again, lean into your intuition. Like
Mhm.
I'll have moms be like, I knew, like I had a friend that my little girl can't go to their house because it stinks so bad. And crucial conversations, right? I texted her and I just
Mhm.
said, like, I said, sadly, like she comes home and her head hurts because there's a fragrance in your home
Mhm.
that she can't be at. So she's welcome to come play here. And she
Mhm.
was like, What are you talking about? Like, I use essential oils, I use doTERRA. And she had
Mhm.
no idea. And so
Mhm.
her little girl came over and I could smell it in her laundry. And I said, Talk to me about
Mhm.
your laundry. And she's like, Oh my gosh. She's like, I'm using these beadlets that somebody told me were healthy. And I've really been thinking that they're not healthy. So she knew in her being,
Mhm.
right? And she's like, I'm chucking them, I'm throwing them in the garbage right now. And so anyways, so trust
Yeah.
yourself. If something doesn't feel right, don't use it. Like, and so
Yeah.
she's got them out of their home. Their house doesn't smell anymore. And
Mhm.
anyways, so, and it's just those little educations.
I love that. So, so important. Um, the toxic load that we put on our bodies is it runs so much more than we think, and it affects everything. So, so crucial. Um, okay, any last coaching or advice for us on? I love this piece about intuition. Um, Natalie and I spent 15 years writing a system on how to be successful in doTERRA. But if you were to boil it down to one piece of advice, it would be that. Just go to God every day and ask him, what should I do today? Who should I serve today? Like that supersedes any amount of launch guide, build guide, business building guide. Like it's like the answers are within you if you'll take the time to be present and trust those intuitions. It's the simplest and the best advice that we've ever received or given.
Yeah, I would say I think my run to founders, like it was intense. It was like I look back and I'm like, wow. But like I think the greatest gift that came out of it was learning to partner with God. Like
Mhm.
100%. Like we had miracles. Like they still make me cry to this day. Like people literally like a friend of mine showing up on my doorstep saying, I don't know why I'm here, but how can I help you? And like just crazy. But it was when you get to that point of fully immersing yourself and trusting and partnering with God that
Yeah,
miracles happen. And we forget that, and I get very independent in my ways. And when I come back to that, yeah, who can I serve today? And people come. I promise you, people come. He sends people from. I've had so many stories I could share of people that have come that I'm able to help, and it's incredible. It's such a gift.
I think that prayer gets answered faster than any other. Who would you have me serve today?
Yeah.
We do have somebody with the acne, I think, intrigues some people. So, somebody has a daughter, extremely crunchy, uses doTERRA supplements, but still has acne. What's your advice? You
Gut.
mentioned gut earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, so the gut, our gut. represents our skin. Our skin looks like the gut lining of our gut. So I always go gut with face with skin. So even using supplements like maybe doing and also what products are they putting on their face? If they're super crunchy, but still looking at that and saying, what can we pull back? I think sometimes we try and overdo. Um, but and it can be hormonal as well, neck wise, but typically I look at gut and like 90-day reset, you guys, is like my powerhouse. What I'm doing in my business, I love it so much. So if they haven't done that, I would highly recommend doing the 90-day reset. And then looking for allergies and different things like that, and what could be causing that.
Love that. I saw a ton of questions come through. Um,
None are natural products.
Jeff
Set.
Jeff says, any advice for a 5-year advocate who hasn't been able to put a stable team together?
I'll be really honest with you. I don't have strong builders. I have one, so I have still placeholders like in some of my areas, and um, here's what's coming to mind is mindset. Like, what's your belief on attracting builders? My one of my holdups, I think for me personally, is I don't feel like I have a good system to onboard. Like when they come in, I'm like, I'm really good at getting them in, but then what? And so look and see what blocks you have about bringing partners in. Because really that flow, right? If we can get open and allow that flow to come in, they will show up. And so when I look at my partner struggling, I'm like, where is my belief right now? And what am I doing in my business? And also, our leaders replicate and we attract what we're doing. And I know the times I'm not working, like my partners don't know that, but they do energetically. I've seen it over and over and over that when I get in momentum in my business and I start building, they come and your partners, and sometimes it's just about trusting timing. Like we have partners that I'm like, it's just not the time for them right now, right? Like, so good onboarding, yeah. But look at what your blocks are and just if there's something that maybe like is hindering that or like your belief of allowing that of the abundance coming in, it's kind
Mhm.
of we hate to hear that, but like often it is what we're projecting and and what our belief system is and allowing that flow to come in.
Yeah,
And not necessarily a system that we need to do that, but where's our belief and what are we attracting?
totally agree. It's all energy, right? Like if we have an abundance of energy and space to serve and partner with others, then people pick up on that energy and they say, oh, there's room in this life for me and there's room in this business for me and I can lean into that. Whereas if our lives are packed to the hilt and we're putting out the energy of my life is full, there's no space for partners. So it's all energy.
It is. We see it more and more, the more you're aware of it, you're like, wow, okay, shift it and
Yeah,
see the change that comes.
totally. Um, Cleaners. I know that my wife is really strict about cleaners. Like we go through so much vinegar and lemon oil because we make all of our own cleaners. Um, any thoughts on that?
So that's where I spent my prior 10 years, right? So I will name drop. I'm okay. We use Norwex in our home. If that's okay that I'm dropping that. But I love so yeah, it's microfiber cleaning cloths that we clean with water, but I do love the On Guard cleaner. I
Yeah.
dilute it and I love the abode spray lately for my
Mhm.
counters. We're home 24/7. Our house gets
Yeah.
to be. Um, but yeah, I do love just a microfiber and like the On
Yeah.
Guard concentrate for my toilets and counters and then the abode spray in my kitchen. That's really what I'm using.
How about for glass and windows? We have a few windows over here. That's
That would be Norwex. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm not dropping, like, not to partner a company, but I'm okay to share other products because I think
yeah,
one thing I'm learning with doTERRA is I think we get so like everything has to be doTERRA.
sure.
And Lauren,
Yeah.
I was with her this week and she's like, we can do 80% for people, but there is
Yeah.
a 20% that has to come from other places, right? And
Yeah.
so, anyways, cloth and water. That's what I taught for 10 years
Okay.
and still what we use in our home. And it's amazing. It's quick and my kids can do it and there's no chemicals. So, but
Love
again,
it.
yeah, being okay that there will be things outside of doTERRA that, and I
Yeah.
think that gives you validation as a wellness advocate that you're not just shoving that all the time in doTERRA, but there is other things that I'm using in my life and you guys are as
Mhm.
well. And I know outside of doTERRA that are still amazing products. And I think it gives you
Mhm.
validity with your customers of like offering other things as well. because they know
Totally.
that you're there to serve them and help them in every aspect. But
Yeah.
that's what we do for cleaners, mainly caulking
Yep.
water and boat spray and on guard cleaner. That's it. That's all
Yeah. Love it. So, so good. Some other tips in the chat, Amy, Cindy's saying, look at fabrics. You know, what are your sheets and pillowcases made out of? Also, emotion oils could be a clue. Um, I think she's still talking about the acne topic. You know, get back to emotional roots.
Yeah, you could look at skin for sure in the essential emotions book, look up skin and see what's in
Yeah.
there. It's incredible and then I would look at maybe food allergies, honestly, like that may be
Mhm.
something that's causing issues, like have her come off gluten and dairy for a couple weeks and
Mhm.
see if it clears up. Just do an elimination to play with that if she's open to trying that, but maybe there's something that's causing that reaction.
So good.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Well, Jillian, thank you so, so much for taking so much time with us today and for sharing your inspiring journey, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. I don't know anybody who's had a linear growth story of just, you know, zero to hero. And so, yeah, just embracing the messy, the middle, you know, every inspiring story has a middle part, right? And that middle part doesn't always feel good. And so for those listening, if that's where you are in your journey, just love what is, love it for what it is, um, and trust the process. So thank you so much for joining us, Jillian, and thank you for um, just being open and vulnerable and sharing so much wisdom with us. So so grateful for you,
welcome. Thanks for having me.
and wishing all of our best to each of you. And we will look forward to seeing you next week.